The difference is that it's already in my pocket. The Vision Pro, on the other hand, well, at least this version of it, with its unwieldy shape and giant battery bank, is very, very not in my pocket. It's also not in this Segue. To our sponsor. We're gonna have it linked in the video description in case you wanna see the full specs, but I really don't think any of you should be running out to buy this thing, even if it does include this spiffy heatsink and fan. Maybe you'd rather check out our sponsor. Going the used route also reduces e-waste, keeping these still serviceable parts in operation instead of in a landfill. And, I mean, hey, you get a better machine for your money, just like you'll get more for your money with our sponsor. Which is why it's time for another round of Linus Reads Mean Comments. But it's not all me this year. You name a host, we found a roast, and we'll be getting reactions from the others as well. So buckle up and put on your protective eyewear, because this is gonna hurt a lot. What won't hurt is telling you about our sponsor. It's not a way of making more f***ing money. And now I need another slate, dang it. That's okay, I'll just visualize a new one. Virtual slate, much better. Now it's time to visualize a Segue to our sponsor. Really though, guys? A 14900K and an RTX 4090 in this case with no other fans? Not even on the radiator? I'm skeptical. And so is our sponsor.
So like the whole thing is just expensive, but it's also really, really cool.
But that's not the same thing as overpriced, because there's a justification for why it costs so much. Just like I justified the price of this Segue to our sponsor. In this episode of Linus Overpays for Ancient Hardware That You've Probably Never Heard Of, we'll be cosplaying as a traveling salesman from the 1980s. I can't wait to play with this thing. Just like I can't wait to tell you about our sponsor. Modern projectors have obviously gotten a lot better, by the way, and we'll have some decent options linked down below. Back to our FP60 though. The only thing we haven't done yet is give a presentation about our sponsor.
I still think it looks great.
I think it counts as extra built by me. If I paid someone to build it, then I did it again myself.
He paid his paid friend to build it, and then did it again himself.
If you want to know someone who I'm their paid friend, how about this message from our sponsor?
Wait, did he etch it on the wrong side?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
my
great.
God.
The Colton dancing is the best part.
No, the best part is this Segue to our sponsor. So to find out, we had 3 brave volunteers give up their high-end systems for about a month, swapping them for more antiquated options. Just like I gave up this more antiquated Segue to our sponsor. I do think maybe it's time that we stop assembling every PC in-house and only build the ones that are really fun or cutting edge or otherwise used for more demanding or specific tasks. What we will still assemble in-house, every time though, is our Segues to our sponsor. But that also assumes that you have a bunch of people who are downloading at the same time and that your router and your devices have implemented optional parts of the Wi-Fi spec that, spoiler alert, they often didn't. Oh, and before I spoil that too, our sponsor is, and if a reality check here can save even 1% of the people who watch this video, just $10 a month, that would work out to over $1 million saved a year, which is a pretty big win in my book. You know what else is in my book? This message from our sponsor. Not 1, but 4 of the fastest quad SLI GPUs that EVGA ever built to see how this monster holds up 9 to 13 years later. Like the video if you think that's a good question to answer. Certainly better than that Segue to our sponsor. I'd like to see you play this game on your 13-year-old console.
Oh yeah, no, that's not gonna work.
Mind you, your 13-year-old console wouldn't have cost you $1,000 to upgrade.
Or to begin with.
You know what else needs an upgrade? This Segue. Just kidding, not yet. I wanted to talk about how much fun we had building this. Okay, man, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the polo shirt with the collar or the old hardware, but this was an absolute blast, even if the price made no sense and it was inefficient as all hell. Just like this inefficient Segue to our sponsor. Trickle charging once a month for no longer than 48 hours something no one is actually going to bother to do manually. You just dial it into the Charge-O-Matic and you never have to think about it again. And in all that time we save by not dealing with dead batteries, we can segue to our sponsor. And finally, the USB blower was first bought for that cleaning supplies video, and we have since bought a bunch more of them for our own use. Just about every set and work area has one of these close at hand because we absolutely love these things. And with that, it's time to hand things over to our sponsor, which would give me access to any shared resources on your network, would allow me to use up your data limit, and would even allow me to engage in illegal activities that would ultimately be traced back to you. I'm going to show you how we built it, and I'm going to give you guys the tools to stop people like me. And today's video is brought to you by, in fact, at that point, why stop at 2 networks? You could have one for your main devices, one for your IoT devices, and then a limited guest network for your visitors. It's a great way to really improve your network security, usually without having to purchase any additional hardware. Just like this is a great way to segue to our sponsor. All these years later, I am finally going to do what I said I was going to do and finish building the Ricer PC. Digging into what made Optane so special and cool and what ultimately killed it. Just like I'm gonna kill this segue to our sponsor. So, in conclusion, Intel, do you want this thing back? We honestly really don't know what to do with it. But I do know how to segue to our sponsor. Okay, but does it spike power consumption like RTX Super Resolution? It's gotta look awful, right? Is it full of artifacts like when DLSS first came out?
You're just gonna have to wait to find out, Linus.
Fine. Can I at least tell them about our sponsor?
Okay.
Maybe at long last, the home theater PC will be a thing again, and you will all rue the day you mocked me for keeping my Windows Media Center Edition remote. Rue it, I say! Just like you'll rue asking me about our sponsor. As a bonus, it's so efficient it can be powered by just a 2 amp 12 volt input. There is one more thing you'll need to know before you can stop paying that monthly subscription, and we're gonna tell you all about it after the break. And that's with us going full LTT and making a solid state NAS. So, what can I say other than I give a strong recommendation to this small boy, just like I give a strong recommendation to this small boy. Oh, and to our sponsor. So, we divided up the house by department and gave everyone an equal workspace. Just turned out that some departments got a little bit more equal workspace than others. We're gonna start in the living room. Oh, after we tell you about our sponsor, please don't skip, we really need the money. Oh, and my personal favorite, the best tech for faking your death and leaving the country. On that subject, hey, shout out VSonic and LANFest for lending us those monitors that you can get back if you can find us. Good luck though, because the only people we give this address to are the ones that send us checks, like our sponsor.